What's going on, all my hustlers and grinders and go-getters out there? We just got done tuna fishing. We was out there in the Mexico waters.
Mexico waters!
And I got some entrepreneurs over here that make over $250K a year, and they're gonna break it down how they do it. I got Austin Lee Hires right here. Where can they find you at?
You can look me up on Austin Hustle Hires on YouTube. You can look it up on Instagram or Facebook, all by the same name. Follow me, subscribe to me. I appreciate it.
And we got Todd from Three Kings Hauling over here.
You can find me at 3kingshauling.com or 3 Kings Hauling and More on Facebook.
So we're gonna find out how they do it, guys, so stay tuned for the video. So you're probably wondering, what do they do to make $250K a year? Austin, what do you do?
Alright, so I own a junk removal business, been open for 5 years now. I just started a rage room, and I also do Airbnb off my property. But I make the $250K just with the junk removal. All the other stuff is just extra.
So Todd, what about you?
For me, it's strictly junk removal. We don't expand it to the East Bay. My son runs to all the East Bay, Antioch, Brentwood, Oakley, the 680 corridor. That's my son. He runs all of that. Hopefully, we're knocking on the door for Vegas next year to open up a third business in Vegas. It's going to be Three Kings Las Vegas coming in 2022. And that's what we do.
And that's what they do.
That's what we do.
So the first question is, everyone wants to know, is how do you get your name out there?
I'll let Todd take this one.
I would say in the beginning, I would definitely stick with going Craigslist. For me personally, I started with the paid Yelp. I know that's controversial for a lot of people, but for me it worked. I'm in California, and it really, really worked. It boosts my sales through the roof. May not work for everybody, but it definitely worked for me. Second, knocking on real estate offices, talking to them, passing out your business card, having a good Facebook SEO for your website. You gotta have that website, and when the calls come in, answer your phone. For Christ's sakes, answer your phone.
I got some stuff to add on to that. So you guys can definitely do this with one truck, 2 guys, 250,000 a year is definitely doable. Like he said, always answer your phone. If you don't answer it, give them a call right back, because that customer is going to call somebody else within 5 minutes, and they're already going to be booked out with another company. So you want to just call it as soon as you see that missed call. And like he said, do your SEOs, build a good website. If you have to change your website up a couple of times to get there, then do that. Just do whatever you got to do. Go out there and be a hustler, a hauler and baller, like Matt always says. And also buy a hauler and baller shirt. It might be good luck for you.
So if you guys want some hauling and balling gear, go down below in the merch store. It's right there. So the next question is, how to hit $250K a year? How do you do it?
That's a good question, Matt. So like I said before, you gotta answer that phone. You gotta sell the jobs the best you can. Get out there and do those jobs. And no matter if it's a hard job or easy job, just go out there and do it, because every little bit of money counts. And just make sure that you are pleasing the customers, because the more customers you please, the more return customers you have. And return customer will be a huge part of reaching that $250,000 a year business amount. So also buy a hauling and balling shirt.
So Todd, break it down.
I look at it like return customers, repeat customers are going to be your best friend. In the beginning, you may not want to do that hard job, but just do it. It's going to pay off. Do a great job at it, because you do a job for one customer in 1 month, 3 months later, she'll call you, he or she may call you back and tell neighbors, so on and so forth. It's a domino effect. At the same time, while you're waiting for those repeat customers, get on Craigslist, get on Facebook. Never ever stop grinding until you reach that point. I mean,
right.
It's just happens that way. I mean, what do you think, Austin?
Yeah, exactly what you're saying, bro. Stay busy on the networking part. So if you're getting rocked in junk removals, don't ever slow down your network. If anything, do more networking, because now you have more money to pour into it. And then that is how you will continue to grow. Don't slow down on your networking when you're busy, because once you stop being busy, you're gonna have to really go twice as hard to get back up to the point you were at because you didn't continue networking and marketing, going out and talking to realtors, giving flyers out, talking to everybody you know. Just tell everybody you know about your business. Word of mouth is literally the best way to grow and exponentially grow your business.
So here's the next question. How do you feel about paid leads?
Well, I'll take this question first. When I started out, I swore by Yelp. To this day, I would still swear by Yelp. In the beginning, they built my business. If it wasn't for Yelp, there would be no Three Kings. I paid, started off at 300, boosted it up to 600, and it paid for itself. Over time, when I started learning about Google My Business and other free sources, I stopped using them. But in the beginning, to get your name out there, I use Yelp. Everybody's gonna be different for sure. Some people will stick to organic leads. Some people stick to paid. I started out with paid because I needed to get paid ASAP. So that's
now you're all organic now, right?
all organic right now.
All organic.
Everything is through Google My Business. That's how I get everything Google My Business.
And how many years are you in?
6 year in business right now.
6 years in. I'm 5 years in, and we're still paying Google Ads. So I totally have a different story. You know, we're living in a small town where, in order to get our name out to the big towns, we really have to use Google Ads and target the right areas with the most amount of people, the most rich people, if you will, that are going to be willing to pay you for what you're worth. And paid ads for me, if I didn't pay $2,000 in ads in the very beginning, I would have never hit $10,000 a month and then moved up to 20, 30, 40,000 a month. I would have never done that if I didn't spend $2,000 in Google Ads. But that it just all depends on what area you're in. I think Todd will agree with me that you need to make sure you try out a bunch of different things, see what works for you the best, and continue to do that one thing the most. But the other things, continue to explore them. Just find out if you can tweak them a little bit and see if it works. Eventually you'll find out exactly what's working, whether it's a paid ad or just organic, and it's different for everybody, but just make sure to try it all out for sure.
So Austin, what's your best form of advertising?
Okay, all right, that's a good question. Out of all of them, I do Craigslist, Facebook, Google Ads. I do organic from my website, organic from Google My Business. But the best one out of all of them that's worked for me anyways, is Google Ads. And that brings me like 40 to 60% depending on what month it is. And I always make a lot more than I spend on Google Ads. So I'm never under the water with how much I spend in ads. So that's my opinion on that question. What about you, Todd?
For me, it's Google My Business. I feed it every day. Finish a job, I post pictures. I thrive off of reviews. Customers call me and say, hey, I've seen your reviews, they're awesome. Google My Business. They scroll past the paid ads and they go to Google My Business. I'm in the 3-pack, 6-pack, whatever you want to call it. And it's always worked for me. Once you're out there and you rank high, I would say Google My Business. Second for me would be my website. Plugging in the keywords. That's
Them SEOs.
Them SEOs.
So the next question is, do you take checks? Yes or no, and why?
I don't accept checks at all. If you can't pay me via credit card, which we live in today's society, everybody has some type of plastic, or we have PayPal, we have Venmo, we have Zelle, we have Cash App. The reason why I don't take checks, people are shady. I'm not saying everybody's shady, but I've come across a lot. I've done a big job, checks are no good, trying to contact the customer, and it's a headache, it's a hassle for me. And I came to a point about 2 years ago, I just said enough's enough. If you can't pay me with a card or some type of an app via Zelle, via Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, then I can't do it. It's just too much hassle.
Now, what about you, Austin?
I agree mostly with him. And the reason I agree is because I used to take checks from anybody, and in the very beginning, they were working out well. But then I got a few checks that were from just random people, and I should have known, but they bounced over $2,500 in checks. bounced. I called the bank. They said that wasn't even a real bank account that was open. So they just screwed me. I tried calling the customer, never answered. I even called the landlord for the customer that's renting their house to get an answer.
Wow.
Yeah, and so this landlord didn't want to help me out. The people, they would never call me back. And they were in the straight hood, so I wasn't going to go knocking on doors for my check. So that's the reason I decided in my business not to take checks. And we'll take cash or card majority of the time, but if they have to, I'll take Cash App or Venmo, any of those apps that he mentioned. And yeah, I think that in some cases, if you're working for big businesses, I will accept a check. And that's because they're usually 30 to 60 days out with their pay. And some of them I get to do the credit card, but some of them are just very strict. So if you want those big jobs, you're gonna have to accept checks sometimes. But I do not accept check from regular residential people like coming to hire us.
Agreed.
So Todd, if you had to start over, what would you do different?
I would have went legit a lot sooner. Tax-wise, getting a CPA, doing everything just straight legit. If I had to start over today, that's what I would have did for sure.
In Austin?
All right. So the one thing I regret and I would change instantly was I got into a partnership with one of my best friends who is no longer my best friend, and I lost a lot of money in that partnership. So I would have changed that and just done business with myself, me, myself, and I, you, yourself, and you, because that's just a really, really big mistake you can make in the beginning.
Now, just like that, that's how they make over 250K a year. It don't matter if you're starting a handyman service, a pressure washing business, a landscaping business, a trash business. All you gotta do is be dedicated, wake up every day, and get on your hustle. And if you guys like these videos, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and leave a comment down below.